news now and stimulating talk. The managing director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
And a chaotic day for me so far. I got the great Tony D to settle us all down. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and proud to be among you.
So we're going back to the Cayman Islands today?
Yeah, on a 12-degree day here in Pomfret, Connecticut, as I'm shivering in my barn as the power went out last night. We're all going to go to the Cayman Islands, and I just want to give everybody here a little bit of perspective of what we've been doing here, in the time that we've been doing it. While we stand in respectful fear of our government, our state further drives us into economic oblivion, and we're told that we're all in this together. What nobody in either government or media tells us, this is the kind of crud, and I'm just going to call it crud, that's going on while nothing, Lee Elci, is mentioned about this in this state whatsoever. As Howard Cosell used to say in the wide world of sports, while you were away, we're back to Anne Lamont and the Oak funds, a new $1.1 billion Oak fund, the OAKS FT4 in Roman numerals, Roman number 4, started up on January 15th of this year. It's the usual suspects, and the capitalization, what they're going to fund this fund with, according to the Wall Street Journal, is $1.1 billion. That's billion with a B. Now, you ask yourself again, it's a Cayman Islands Incorp. What are we doing in the Cayman Islands? We're all shivering here in Connecticut. To the securities people out there, which I am not, this is known as a 506B, less than 35 investors. Now, these investors could be polyglots or whatever, so the reason they do this is to kind of keep it off the charts. However, there is the Pennsylvania State Retirement Fund, the PSERS, Pennsylvania State Employees Retirement Services Fund, who wanted to make an investment in this Oak Fund. In January, the stated amount they were saying in the trade papers, the Wall Street Journal blogs and things, $100 million, a mere bag of shells in Ralph Cramden-esque terms. Now, you say to yourself, okay, you have a state government in Pennsylvania, you have Connecticut, and you would think that somebody here in Connecticut might see a conflict with this. Like, for example, like I said to Kathy, I said, well, dear, why don't you just go and sell our client base to a competitor, sell all the, demographic information and all this kind of thing, and we could profit off that, and we could kind of, tilt the client base so we're making more money off the competitor than, we are, quote unquote, in practice. I mean, it's quote unquote, the mere appearance of possible evil. But, there's no whatsoever. It's straight on right through. Now, a couple of good-minded souls in Pennsylvania turned. This is actually documented in the minutes, which they took off the website, and a couple of articles like, hey, these people, there was a story in the Hartford Courant, it's like, they got a rap sheet. What are you doing? And Anne Lamont's partner at that point put his hand up and said, Andrew Adams, let's go into executive session. Now, executive session is where a board kind of takes everything off the record and they go and they hash something out, outside of public view. They come out and they say, okay, we're doing it, case closed. Now, again, this is a new fund, and I'm sure the political class like to say, if there's an ethics agreement, this thing gets violated like a parking meter. And not only that, it was written a year and a half ago. It is a complete joke, and nothing really stops this thing. So once again, we have a situation where, and I forgot to say this, shame on me, the Oak HCFT funds, 31 of the equities that they're pushing are quote-unquote healthcare pandemic-related. So you've got this quote-unquote kind of dual objective here. This fund has got to, produce as well as it can for these people in Pennsylvania. Well, how's it going to do that? It's going to do that by, quote-unquote, pushing its economic interest, and you have, quote-unquote, a spouse of a founder of this Cayman Islands fund. Again, Cayman Islands, secrecy, who can pretty much do whatever in the heck he wants to run this thing. And, how do I know as a business owner, as a citizen, how does anybody know that, my quote-unquote objective interest in the fidelity of the state, where my guardians of the public trust are supposed to be looking out on this, and, once again, we got blood on the walls. It is unbelievable. Not covered anywhere in media. Government once again out to lunch. Here we go.
So I've been following the bouncing ball with you for a while on this, and even right now, my head is spinning. You got
amazing.
You got me spinning. When somebody asks you, Tony D, as to the efficacy of this administration, from the top to bottom, but obviously pointing directly at Ned Lamont, what kind of an answer would you give him? Like, would you say that they're on the up and up? Would you say this is on the slant a little bit? Would you say that there's...
Remember how they called Ronald Reagan the Teflon man, how they called Frank Gifford the Teflon man on Monday, how the mistakes never stuck? This absolutely amazes me, but then I wonder in a world, Lee Elci, where it's sort of like, well, hey, we could steal elections. We could impeach dead presidents. We could do whatever. And not only that, but when you question it, it's like you're looked at. But how dare you question us that are doing God's service? It defies whatever little bit of logic is left in my brain.
Yeah, but I keep going back to the idea. Are they knowingly doing this? Was this a setup prior? Because she had all these holdings in all these companies? Is this specifically...
Well, I just offer two words, Cayman Islands. Yeah. Why the Cayman Islands? I mean, if this were, quote-unquote, doing God's work for the protection of the economic and health interests of the state of Connecticut, why can't we see transparently what is happening? If you've ever seen the movie The Firm, one of those John Grisham novels, anything you want to know about the Cayman Islands, watch that film. It'll tell you. It is, you don't know what's going down.
Right.
We don't know who else is in this fund. Are there other governors? Are there other people in government? Are there doctors? Are there doctors holding equities in these funds? I'm not saying there are, but Lee Elci, we do not know. And we should, because if anything could influence the public system here, that's a problem. And put it this way, this whole Pennsylvania-Connecticut dynamic, let me just offer this. I'll give you a hypothetical, maybe not too far from, what might be happening. What if Eric Trump became governor of Pennsylvania, or, Lara Trump or somebody like this? Well, what about kind of tweaking these equities and saying, well, they're not really producing that well and it's all the Republicans' fault? I mean, this is why you have firewalls, and these people, they don't care. They obviously do not care.
Right. Tony D is his name, and let the cat out of the bag, although I do hate that expression. Tony is going to be one of the guest hosts. I'm going to take a few days
God
off.
Help everyone.
So that's going to happen next week. So, those of you who have wanted to talk to him, and I know there are a lot.
Oh, yeah, no holds barred.
Yeah, he'll be here doing his thing, and I'll give you all a complete schedule as soon as all the parties lock it in and load it up. But it'll be happening next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And normally I listen to the whole show, so I can't wait to see what you bring to the table. Listen, before we let you go, you want to grab a quick call? I know we don't normally do this, but we got another 90 seconds. We can give somebody a shot to talk to.
Ahead.
All right, let's grab a call. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, guys. This is Eric from Niantic.
Eric, what's going on?
Hey, all right. Tony, you have become my favorite guest on Lee Elci's show.
How about that,
Goes
Tom?
to show you where things have sunk, Eric, but thanks.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. These people are criminals. They're using what I perceive to be public funds for private uses. Now, if you go into the Comprehensive Annual Report, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, CAFRA, you should be able to see these layers and layers. Now, a lot of people ask about tax money. Well, what happens to it? Where is all this money going? I'll tell you where it's going, guys. It's going into investments. These people they're creating shell corporations. They're creating phony identities and phony job descriptions And what they're doing is they're investing this money all over the place, and they're becoming members of the Millionaire Boys and Girls Retirement Club. And you did mention the Cayman Islands. I mean, what's when you see Cayman in the dictionary, look up secret funds.
Well, and I thank you for mentioning that. The Oak equities, quote unquote, are in other pension funds, so it's almost like you could just kind of push whatever button you want to make whatever sort of desired response that you want to have. And believe me, this is the kind of thing where you can go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I wish I had hours and hours and hours, but this is just kind of like one little bubble at the top.
Oh yeah, if you look at the New York counter, there's a whole bunch of accounts where they're pension funds, and if the pension funds have invested in bonds and stocks and everything else, these are public funds invested in private sources. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you calling in. All right, Tony, we're out of time, but we will talk soon, and I'll talk to you a little bit later on. But next week, you'll have an entire 4 hours to do your thing.
Best to everyone. Thanks,
all right, my friend. You got it. All right. Well,